Now let's talk about some of the request methods. I'll talk about only them, which are the most important one first. And then we'll go ahead, dig deeper to additional SIP request methods. Starting with our favorite, the invite message. Invite can be compared as a setup message we used to see in our ISDN protocol. When a new call is being created, a setup message is being set. In SIP world, invite is the one wherein a phone can initiate a message towards the CUCM server that it is requesting the CUCM server for a new call to be set up. Something related to invite is re-invite, and it's used for any existing call that is already in progress. That's already the users are talking to each other. But you need some more details to the invite, and that's where you use re-invite, because you cannot send an invite for an existing call. You use re-invite for an existing session. And a session could be anything like an audio call or a video call or IMN presence and so on. Now, related to invite is an act wherein you need a response for each of the invites. So it's in relation with the previous message that we talked. That is acknowledgement. To make it somewhere reliable, one party sends an invite, the other sends an acknowledgement. For any existing session, if a user wants to terminate the call, to tear down a session, you need a buy signal, and either side can indicate the other party that they want to terminate the call now. The other way is cancel. You cannot tear down a call that's not set up as of now. It's still in signaling process. The RTP media has not been established. The users are not talking to each other. So in that case, you do not send a buy. To tear down this session, you need a cancel to be sent. Then you have got options. It was initially used to advertise the capabilities of one party for the other one. But now it's used typically for a keep alive messages between two devices. For instance, you use ping to check the availability of the other device you're talking to. Then comes register. As the name implies, it's used for a device to register with a server or something, like a phone to Cisco Unified Communication Manager. A phone will send a register request to the Cisco Unified Communication Manager. The other example could be that your Cube device sends a register message to the IT service provider. It's a way of authenticating yourself to the server that you're registering with. And then you expect to get a response like a directory number or more details about your phone configuration from that server that you're registering to. So these are the 6 request methods: invite, act, buy, cancel, options, and register, that you'll find out the most important one in SIP world. Now, after talking the core of the SIP, that were invite, act, buy, cancel, options, and register, it's time for us to go ahead and talk about some more which are not that important, but then you would definitely encounter them while you work in a unified communication setup. The first to discuss is info messages. Info messages are used for sending additional details for an existing dialogue. Now, you would wonder, what's a dialogue? Now, a dialogue is an equivalent to an audio call or maybe a video call. So it's two party talking to each other. So it's a dialogue. There could be an in dialogue or out of dialogue messages as well when it comes to IMN presence transactions. But for now, in case you want to send more details, remember it like this, that you would use info and not re-invite or anything else. Moving further, you would have PRAC messages. Now, PRAC is basically combination of provisional acknowledgement, these two words. We discussed about the act, now we're talking about provisional act. PRACs are used as a response for more reliability. You would see a typical usage of PRAC in early media. Then we have got subscribe and notify. These two messages, these two request methods go hand in hand. You would always find them together. One device can subscribe to a service, the second device will notify for a state change. For instance, like IMN presence subscribe and notify, wherein the presence status can be subscribed, that whenever there is a change in the state, you subscribe to these services. And whenever actually presence gets updated, like you're away from your seat, the user goes in a meeting or in a conference call, that's the change in the presence. So the device notifies that now I'm in a different presence status. So you would always find subscribe and notify together. Now, once we have talked about the subscribe and notify, right, you have got an update right? So for any in progress session, in case you want to modify something, when we talk about the update, before as for the update goes, think it this way: for any in progress modification, you can send invite, and that is like re-invite, but that can be done only when you already have the call being set up, the users are talking to each other. But what about the call is still in the signaling phase, and you want to modify certain parameters? So you do not send a re-invite because the call is not set up. Then what do? You send an update request in your invite. So it's related to your previous invite, but it goes as a separate request. And always remember that update will be used before the call is being actually set up. The users have not answered the call, they're not talking to each other, the call is still under signaling process. Moving further, we have got messages. We're not going to use it for queue, but then I still want you to understand that it's a request method used for an example instant messaging, like an IM presence. Let's move further and talk about a refer. It's used in two different ways. For instance, Cisco Unified Communication Manager can send a call to somewhere else, maybe to another server or maybe to another device. Cisco devices typically use them for out of dialogue messages. For instance, CUCM could use it for remote call control, right? Wherein CUCM can say play a dial tone or stop a dial tone. Refer is a request method used by Cisco devices to achieve other features that cannot be done with the core SIP request methods. Now, moving further to publish, Cisco devices use it for out of dialogue. Cisco Unified Communication Manager can use it instead of subscribe and notify. There is no need to subscribe and notify. You just use it and you publish it. It can also be used by IM presence.